Hello and welcome to that Eurovision site, Eurovision with a slice of life. Thank you very much for joining us today. Nationals final season is just about beginning, and we are continuing our interview series with artists competing from all over the continent. And I am super excited to be joined today by Ireland's Isabella Kearney. She'll be competing in Eurosong 2024 on the 26th of January with her song Let Me Be the Fire. Thank you so much for being here today, Isabella. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing really, really, really well. I am very excited for Friday. Nervous, excited, but in a good way.
Yeah, it's only 7 days away, which is crazy. We're recording this on the 19th.
I know, literally 7 days away, which is wild.
And I mean, just in a, it's obviously a big question, but how has it been? The experience of coming to Ireland to set this up, the
Yes,
rehearsals, the process. How have you found it?
it's been really lovely. I feel like everyone has been so excited around me, and it's felt like coming home. I'm staying with like really good family friends in Dublin, and it's like all this Eurovision stuff, and then like in the evenings we're all having dinner together, and it feels like normal. So it's
That,
a great balance of both.
that must be really
It's
good because because you're
yeah,
coming from far away and
yes.
it's a whole new thing for you. It must be nice to have that kind of stability in your
Oh,
life.
for sure. I think I would have felt quite lonely if I'd just come by myself. My management comes in a couple of days, which is really cool, from Nashville. So once Nina comes in, it will feel really like I just can't wait to show her Ireland as well. She's never been. So at the same time as we're rehearsing, I'll be like, oh, and this and this.
That's so cool. Before we get into that, can you just tell us a bit about how you got here?
Yes. So I entered Let Me Be the Fire in about October. I think it was, and it was kind of like a I was with one of the songwriters of the song, and she didn't know about Eurovision. A lot of Americans don't, and they whenever you explain it, they're kind of like, "So wait, it's a competition between all the like they just don't get it." So I was like showing her, clips and stuff like that, and then I was like, I can apply for it because I'm an Irish like passport holder, and I was like, it has always been my dream, and both loved this song a lot, and then we were both like, should we enter Let Me Be the Fire? Because it kind of felt like a Eurovision song and a bit. Because it's like has a good message, but it's also like a bop. And then we sent it in, and then I got an email and a phone call like 2 months later, and it was just crazy.
I mean, it is definitely a bop. It's been in my head since I woke up this morning, so that's a good
Oh,
sign.
good. Okay, good. I'm glad.
But
It
yeah,
is a bit earworm, I think, definitely.
yeah. Where did it come from? What was the background to the song?
So that initial like da 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 da, I actually had on a voice memo. I think when I was driving in that morning to the session, I had it, but it was like the lyrics were really bad. It was like something about being toxic, which was just not good. And then I brought that into the room, and it was with two Danish producers, Rasmus and Cutfather, and then Megan, who's the other writer. And I was like, "Oh, I have this idea," and they were like, "Oh, that sounds really Irish," which is like kind of funny that was already the word used kind of, and so they kind of added like this bagpipe sound, which is now that da da da, and it just rolled from there, and then we kind of just came up with the concept of like being there for someone that's going through a hard time, and that's it just flowed from there. It was written under 3 hours, so it was very quick.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And uh, I just want to talk a bit about so your journey because your Spotify page is one of the most like remarkable things because there's only one song on there, but then you look at
Yes.
the artist bio and then you got this sort of like list that's about
Yes.
20 artist songs of the amazing people you've worked in. You just the More Boys, Guy Sebastian, the Veronicas,
Yes.
just to name a
Yes.
few.
Yes.
What was the decision like? Because you've obviously written loads of great songs over the years. You've even
Mhm.
been to for Australian selection, Australia decides. Uh,
Yes.
why now come to the other side of the credits?
I think it's firstly always been my dream to to do Eurovision, and to perform, and it just felt like the right timing. I think I've always been like a singer. That's what I did for a long time before I wrote, and then I kind of got so into songwriting, like only songwriting, that I felt like I lost that artist side of me. And last year, I just more and more and more was like, okay, I'm focusing on this. And I did a whole EP in LA, which will come out later this year. So it just felt like the right timing and the right song to sing it.
So, and what is it specifically about this song that really makes it something that you want to debut with?
I think it has like a good message. It has some substance to it. I do think it's catchy, and it just felt. I don't know if it wasn't for Eurovision, because it sounds kind of different to my EP. My EP is kind of folky. If it wasn't for Eurovision, I don't know if it would have been my choice for myself. But in the context of Eurovision and what I felt like, Eurovision songs are sounding like now, it felt like it fit.
Yeah. So, what kind of? I mean, you obviously have a great passion for Eurovision.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that start?
It definitely started when I was a kid. In Australia, Eurovision is massive, like so big. Everyone has parties around it. People stay up until like 5 a.m. or whatever it is. And so I guess that's when it started. And the spectacle of it and the scale of it always felt so like, whoa, this is massive. And then just growing up, and then in the songwriting community, it's a really big deal now to have a song in Eurovision. So it just felt like kind of a merging of both of those loves together.
Wow. So yeah, but what was your first Eurovision memory?
Oh, that's hard. My first Eurovision memory. I think that we used to watch old clips, like mom would show me like Johnny Logan and stuff. And so I remember, because mom was very like, Ireland used to be, the winners, they won all the time, so there was a lot of that. I think that was my first memory, which was obviously funny because that's so different to what Eurovision is now. Like that was literally just people like singing a song on a stage in front of like a little audience. But yeah, I think that was the first early memories. I think Conchita, that was maybe when I remember when Serbia won.
Yeah,
I think that was the first time that as a teenager I was like, oh, this is like a really big thing. I remember when Serbia won, yeah.
Yeah, you've talked about the fact that, you've been an engaged fan from that distance, you've been part of that huge Australian fandom, which have brought so much to, and like Australia as a country that have brought so much. But now that you're representing Ireland, I know that your mother's Irish and you've spent a lot of time in London. Does it feel like quite a kind of like circular, like a bit of circularity coming back to represent Ireland?
Yes, it feels, it's kind of an emotional thing, really. It feels very like coming together. Like even with the RT filming the other day. So my nana had her birthday on this barge, and she's passed away now. And in the background of the filming was the barge.
Oh,
so that was like weird. Like there's been all these kind of nods to my family along the way that has just been like kind of coincidental, and that's weird. It's weird and like it feels really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and you'll be able to stay with family as well, and
exactly. And my cousin's up for the show, and they're all very excited. So it's going to be a party.
Yeah. What has surprised you the most about this whole journey?
I think maybe firstly, I didn't realize how big Eurosong was. I think I didn't realize in Ireland, how many people are really actively engaged in it, which was really cool. And then, I mean, I always knew the Eurovision community was very tight and very active, but I think I've been wowed by how kind everyone is, and how, how community focused, and how everyone kind of takes care of each other, and it just feels really nice.
Yeah, so have you felt that within like the Eurosong world, within the Irish community?
yeah, I felt with the Irish community, but then also just like the messages I've gotten from people and from like Eurovision organizations like yourself that, are all over the world and are very like Spain and especially Australia. And it's just been awesome. Everyone's so nice.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that I'm glad that you got such a positive experience of coming into this world because it is
Yeah.
really kind of like because Eurovision is such a big thing, but I feel like the kind of real fandom of it and it's quite hidden for most people. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, but going back to Eurovision, you talked about this song being like much better at representing what modern Eurovision is about. What kind
Yeah.
of where do you think it kind of fits into if you think about other artists that have come before and other acts?
I don't know if it sounds like another song. I think the thing is that like obviously it sounds very poppy, but the way we're doing this staging, a lot of people have said like when I've shown the stage have said it's like dommy or domi
Yeah.
that like um because we'll have two like musicians on stage with me as well, kind of facing each other. And so I kind of guess it fits into that realm. But then like from a songwriting perspective, it feels like like obviously a very different style to like Duncan Lawrence, but that, as a songwriter, I'm putting like my best foot forward like that.
Yeah, it is a really well written song. You've mentioned you've gone to have two people on stage with you. Can you tell us anything more about how it's going to be staged and how you're approaching the performance?
Yeah, so it's gonna be two wonderful girls that are gonna be on stage with me that both are front women in their own right. So that's kind of exciting because they're both very gonna be amazing performers. Um, what else can I tell you? We have really interesting visuals behind. We've put a lot of work into that. We've got Hosier's visual producer that's built this whole thing from behind. So it's really about showing people the mini version of what we want to bring to Eurovision. And I think as well in the scheme of Eurosong, I'm very much aware that I'm like the newbie as far as the Irish kind of community of musicians. So we're really trying to like be like, look, we have all this. You can have faith that I'll do a good job if I go to Malmö.
I mean, what would it mean to be representing Ireland in Malmö?
It would be it would be such a crazy dream come true. Like even thinking, it's funny because I want it so bad that I've been trying to be really like whatever happens happens like blah blah blah, but I really want to win. It would be a dream come true. It would be it seems just like the wildest experience ever. So yeah, it'd be a massive massive deal if I won.
Wow. And what do you have to say to people well around the world who are just discovering you and your music and yourself?
I would say definitely keep an eye out for what's to come. It's exciting to be someone that's like from Australia but representing Ireland. Um, there's a lot of like children of people that immigrated from Europe that are now representing their countries in Eurovision. Like Andrew Lambro, my friend, he did Cyprus last year, and there's another Australian girl representing Cyprus this year. And just to keep an eye out for all the kids of European parents that are willing to make their countries proud.
That's a great message. And
Yeah.
so you have an EP coming out soon. What kind of styles are we expecting? You said it's quite different from this song.
So the style is very interesting because it is way more Irish sounding. I would say we did so we so my friends who I worked with in LA are incredible producers, but they're also very interesting in how they use sounds. So we got all these old recordings, like field recordings of um like a girl singing in Irish from like 1901, and then people playing the barong, which is the Irish drum from like 1899 or something like that. And then we filtered them so that they are all part of this like bed of music. So we were really trying to create like a new sound, like as individual as like my story, which is like Irish Australian, and trying to create a sound that felt like that. So I don't know if it sounds like anything else. That's been the reviews that I've gotten when I sent it to people. They're like, wow, this feels like a new genre. So that's kind of the vibe. I don't know.
I mean, that sounds incredible. I'm really looking forward to that. Do you
Yes,
have any
me
more
too.
do you have any more details about when that's gonna kind of come out?
No, I guess it depends on the result of Eurosong, because obviously if I end up going to Eurovision, then it will come out later in the year. But if I don't, then it will probably come out maybe March or April.
Okay, cool. And where can people keep in touch with you to follow your journey?
Yes, you can follow me on TikTok, Isabella Kearney, and then on my Instagram, it's Isabella KN_.
Great. And on that note, you can find us at that Eurovision site on Twitter, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, on all the places. Follow us on Spotify, follow our podcast, do all the things and have a great time. Thank you very much, Isabella. It's been an absolute pleasure
Yeah.
talking to you.
Thank you so much. You too.
And good luck for next week.
Thank you. Thank you very much.